All right, we're live. Give me 1 second. This is day 3 of the Trevor Bauer restraining order hearing. And it's the final day, actually, of the alleged victims' testimony. And Mr. Bauer's attorney kind of got into it. They revealed a lot of text messages, and it reveals that the alleged victim is going to have credibility issues if criminal charges are ultimately filed against Mr. Bauer. I believe, in my legal opinion, that the restraining order should be granted based upon the evidence that has come in, and that if I were the judge, I would probably grant it for a year or two based upon the limited interaction that they've had and the low legal standard that the alleged victim is required to prove in order to obtain a restraining order in California. I didn't do my housekeeping. My name is Broderick Brown. I'm a licensed attorney in the state of California. And I'm just giving my legal commentary on the Trevor Bauer situation. So the alleged victim has major credibility issues because, in essence, her text messages after these alleged sexual assaults aren't the truth, and she admitted to essentially lying to her best friend and her supervisor in the days after these incidents. And so that's not good, because the stuff that she was lying about, like she told I believe she told her supervisor, no, let me back up. I think she caught in a lying to 3 people: her best friend, her supervisor, and then her AA sponsor. And one of the lies, for instance, was she said that Mr. Bauer went to her place in San Diego when, in fact, she was going to Mr. Bauer's place. And that's a substantial difference between, it's a 2-hour drive from LA to San Diego. So, and there's no reason for her to be lying in that situation. She tried to explain it, but she ultimately owned it and admitted under the cross-examination that those text messages weren't true. And so it's clear from my reading that she knew at a certain point that she was going to pursue her legal remedies, which is her right. But what I don't understand was why was she continuing to send text messages? And not only to send the text message she did, she also deleted a lot of text messages and Instagram messages, as well as she deleted her Twitter account. And so in the text messages, we can see that she knew that what course she was ultimately going to take. And we have to realize as a public that anything you text someone, if you have a legal matter, it may be discoverable. So people, unless you're texting your wife or your husband or an attorney, if you put it in writing, chances are they can get these subpoena records, which is why whenever I talk about the Deshaun Watson matter, I'm like, we're going to know, because the other side's going to subpoena all of the Instagram message information. Even if you deleted it, it's still on a server somewhere. So the messages that she sent, in my opinion, kill her credibility. Just kill it, because she's literally lying hours after leaving Mr. Bauer's house, like relatively substantial lies. And I think that one of my favorite radio hosts here in the Bay. His name was Ralph Barbieri. He's passed away recently, or the last couple of years. He used to say, two things can be equally true. And I think that this is a situation here. I believe that the alleged victim was probably assaulted, and did not consent to Mr. Bauer essentially punching her in the face and scratching her on the face. I don't believe that. I believe her when she says she didn't consent to that. But at the same time, that could be true. And then it could also be true that she's going to have major credibility issues if this matter goes to trial. Because if this matter goes to trial, it's essentially a he said, she said, and she's just lying. I think her declaration and her temporary restraining order application that she filed to get this hearing, which was probably written and put together by her attorneys. Her attorneys probably got the documents that she provided them, which didn't include all the messages because she deleted some of the messages. And so they probably were unaware of that. So they went extra hard and they basically regurgitated her version of the facts. And she signed that under penalty of perjury. And that's ultimately going to come and bite her in the butt if it goes to a criminal trial where there's going to be a much higher standard than in this hearing. And the jury's going to ultimately have to believe her because it's, like I said, it's he said, she said. So, and I just want to reiterate this again, major legal lesson. A thing that everyone can learn from this today is that if you have a legal matter, anything that you put in writing is going to be discoverable and the other side is going to see it. And so if you have incriminating, if an event happens and you feel like you need to document it and you may pursue a legal remedy, you should be completely truthful and honest in your text messages because ultimately the other side is going to see it. All right, so that sums that up. But the text message that I think that hurts her the most, and I believe that she was texting her AA sponsor. And again, if you want a great breakdown, you can go to the blog. I think it's a publication. The Sun, that the U.S. Sun has a great breakdown on this. So great breakdown. So, but the most damaging text message was a conversation she had with her AA officer or her AA sponsor where they're talking about securing the bag. And I thought she did a good job of owning a lot of the bad facts, like the lies, the exaggerations, the misstatements of truth. But when the defense attorney asked her if she knew what secure the bag meant, I thought her answer left a lot to be desired. She basically said that she didn't really know what that word meant. And so that suggests that there was conversations about money and that money was going to play a big role in this. And that's going to hurt. Well, I don't think that should impact this hearing. I think that it'll impact her at the criminal trial. And I think that for Mr. Bauer, his best argument is this, and it came out in a cross-examination. At a certain point when she went to the Pasadena Police Department to file a report, they had her call him, and she was being wiretapped or there. It was being recorded. And then that phone call, Mr. Bauer essentially said that he was fine ceasing contact, that if she didn't want him to contact her anymore, he would not. And in fact, it doesn't appear that he was contacting her much at all after the second incident, once he realized she was okay in the hospital. So if I was Mr. Bauer's attorney, if I was on their team, I would be arguing vigorously that there's no need for a restraining order because he wasn't even attempting to text or call her after the incident. And despite what is alleged in her declaration for the restraining order, where she says that Mr. Bauer was essentially, quote, blowing her up on the phone and via text messages, he really didn't call her at all after she got out of the hospital. And so that's his best argument is that even if what she's saying occurred is true, he's no longer a threat to her given the circumstances, which was she was traveling 2 hours to visit him in LA, and he never so much went down to visit her in San Diego, and they really only met each other in person on 2 occasions. So, and after she testified, I believe MD testified to confirm that she didn't have a skull fracture, which I believe was either alleged in the declaration or said in her direct testimony. Mr. Bauer is supposed to be testifying tomorrow, where his attorney is saying that he's going to take the fifth. The reason why he's going to take the fifth is that anything he says in this hearing could be used against him, and he's just better off not responding to these allegations and saving his version of the story, or his version of the story, if this matter ever goes to trial in a criminal case, if he's ever charged. So that's my thoughts on it. I thought it was a good day of testimony. I think that we learned a lot, or I learned a lot, and let me sum up what I learned. The alleged victim is going to have major credibility issues at a criminal trial. There's no way to get around that, and it'll probably get worse when the defense is able to subpoena all her messages, not just the messages they received from the other side. So, so who knows? So we know right now that she was lying to at least 3 people. It's likely that she might have been lying to more. And that's going to hurt her credibility, even though that her lying to her best friend, her supervisor, and her AA sponsor doesn't really change the fact that she has substantial bruising on her face, and that it's going to be a hard sell for Mr. Bauer to get a jury to believe that black eyes are a part of sex, or that she consented to that, given the fact she went to the hospital afterwards. And the text messages kind of support her version of the fact that she took issues with the black eyes. The second thing is that anytime that you text message, generally I would encourage you to be truthful, because you never know when a text message may be used against you. Her text messages to her boss, the following morning seemed innocent, and she lied in the text messages essentially because she couldn't go to work because of her black eyes. But now those are going to be used against her. She would have been better off just picking up the phone and talking to her supervisor on the phone, and then it would have been documented. So keep that in mind. And the third thing is that her testimony went over 12 days. And so I keep harping on this fact because, her testimony went over 12 hours, not 12 days. So 12 hours over the course of, I believe, 2 days. And again, I harp on this fact is that, like, we have 2 justice systems. The facts of my most recent restraining order hearing was essentially a landlord broke into my client's residence, and the landlord didn't sexually assault my client, but physically assaulted my client, and he had no permission. There was no notice given, etc. And we basically got an hour and a half to put on that case. and we weren't. I mean, we had a lot of evidence, and we basically got fast tracked through the hearing. Now, the hearing was granted, but it's crazy to me that Mr. Bauer and the alleged victim are getting 3 full days, and it looks like probably it's going to be 4 full days if it continues tomorrow. So that's crazy to me. I will never understand that. I will never understand the justification of why this case is deemed more special than the others. If Mr. Bauer wasn't, if he was just playing on the local adult softball league, this would have been done in 2 hours, and this restraining order would be granted, given the low legal standard and the substantial just physical evidence they have to her injuries, and the fact that he's going to plead the fifth. He's not even going to be able to get his version of what happened in that bedroom out for the judge to even determine that. So those are my thoughts. This is day 3. I'm probably going to do day 4. Hopefully you guys like this. I think I got one person peeked in on the stream for like 30 seconds. So if you like this content, please like and subscribe. Please comment. Please share your thoughts. Do you find this alleged victim to be credible? Was her testimony under this cross-examination damaging? Let me know. Please share in the comments, like and subscribe. And if you got to this far in the video, salute to you. I appreciate you. That's it. Thank you so much. Bye.